button and start the webinar. All the best. Thank you.
Hello and welcome to the IRS Rail Webinars session on enabling a safe return to rail travel, video-powered passenger protection, produced by the International Railway Summit in association with Cognify. I'm Joel Somura, the Managing Director of IRIS Events, and it's my pleasure to welcome you all to this session. So at the last count, we had over 130 people from 38 countries registered for today. Welcome to those of you attending our webinar program for the first time, and welcome back if you've joined us before. Providing a safe and secure environment for passengers and restoring their confidence remains the single biggest concern for passenger rail and public transport operators, according to a network of rail sector leaders. Last year was a year of panic and quick fix for many operators. This year, after trial and error and sharing of best practices and data across operators and authorities, we have a better understanding of what works and what doesn't. The first step towards this goal is to monitor and analyze passenger flow. And many authorities and operators rely on the now ubiquitous CCTV cameras to provide the crucial data. Today's debate will explore best practices and the latest technology on the use of video technology to enable a safe return of passengers to rail travel. I'm delighted to have the support of leading opinion makers and innovators as speakers with us today. In particular, we are grateful for the support from Cognify, which allows us to provide this important debate for anyone to watch for free. Cognify is a leading expert in big data solutions for physical security, and one of their key offerings is video management system that provides security solutions to a large number of facility owners, including railway stations and airports. So I look forward to learning about Cognify's response to how we can bring back passengers to rail from their Senior Manager for Key Accounts, Frank Mueller, shortly. I'm equally grateful to Isaac Centellas Garcia from Madrid Metro and Carlos Freire Coloma from ADIF for sharing their expertise with us today. This is an interactive session. You're invited to participate proactively in the discussion. So you will see on your screen the chat section where you can send some messages to other attendees or to the speakers. You can ask questions in the Q&A section. If you have any questions that you'd like Peter to ask the speakers during the panel discussion, do send us the questions through the Q&A section. We have 3 polls today, so we'll be asking for your opinion on certain questions, so do look out for that. The 2 of the presentations today are available as handouts, so if you can click on the handout section, you will be able to download 2 of the presentations, not all of them, so don't panic if you don't find the 3rd one, but you will see the handouts in that section. And finally, we do value your assessment evaluation of this webinar. So if you stay until the end, which I'm sure all of you will be, do complete the evaluation that you'll get at the end of the webinar. If not, you'll get an email to ask for your opinion, your evaluation of the webinar. So do respond to that, please. We are tweeting live during this webinar. You can follow us at Rail Summit, and do please use a hashtag #IRSRailWebinars if you tweet. If you enjoy the session, do continue the debate on Twitter and LinkedIn. Now it's my pleasure to introduce you to our guide for today, Peter Knudsen. Peter is General Manager at Veovo, and he's a specialist in passenger flow at railway stations and airports. He may be a familiar face to some of you as he's contributed his insights to our webinar program a few times. And so, Peter, I look forward to today's debate on enabling a safe return to rail travel, video-powered passenger protection. Peter, over to you.
Thank you, Jules, and thank you to IRS and Cognify for making this webinar possible. I'm certainly looking forward to learn more about the safe return and getting passenger volumes up to pre-COVID volumes, and how we can enable that in a faster and secure way, rather than sort of looking back or looking into maybe years just to get back to 2019 levels. So really looking forward to learning something here today. I'll start by launching the first poll, and while you then will have time to vote, I will introduce our first speaker. The first poll is: has the pandemic led you to change any of your service processes? So please vote as I introduce Isaac Centelles Garcia, who is the head of Facilities and Information Systems Division in Metro de Madrid. He also holds a number of board of director positions with Metros Ligeros de Madrid, Transportes Ferroviarios de Madrid, and Metrocall. Sorry, Isaac, if I didn't pronounce that completely correct. He's also held various other positions within Metro de Madrid, so he definitely has a lot of good insights and experience to share with us. And I'll hand over to you, Isaac.
Thank you very much, Peter. Good morning.
So before Isaac starts, shall we just have a quick look at the results of the poll?
Sure.
So if the audience members, if you could go to the poll section, we'll close the poll now. So if you haven't voted yet, do vote in the next 5 seconds. We'll close now. And then if you can look under the closed segment of the poll section, you see the results. So overwhelmingly, the answer is yes. I think so. Perhaps Peter and Isaac, this is, I guess, the expected result.
Yes.
Okay. Thank you, Peter. Good morning. It's a pleasure for Metro de Madrid to participate in this summit. My name is Isaac Centelles. I'm the head of Facilities and Information System Division in Metro de Madrid. And I want to share with you all how we have managed Metro during and after COVID-19. I will start up with a general overview about the context, then I will move to Metro de Madrid and COVID-19. Next, I will talk about the role of engineering, and I will finish up with one reflection and several ideas. Here you are our figures. We have 300 stations. The network length is 300 kilometers. We have 327 trains at peak hours. Daily in 2019, we transported over 658 million passengers. It's equivalent at 2.3 million passengers per day. We are a network with a lot of facilities. You can see all the facilities that we have. The World Health Organization declared COVID-19 as a pandemic at 11th March 2020. We have to remember that metros, and in particular Metro de Madrid, are essential modes of transport. Due to these situations, the goals of Metro de Madrid were to respond to the mobility needs of the city and to preserve the health of its passengers and employees. This chart shows the evolution of passengers transport demand before and during COVID. The lowest value, we had 8% of the demand we used to transport. Currently, the demand is 68% compared to the demand in 2019. Metro de Madrid's annual demand dropped 328 million journeys during 2020. We transported 330 million passengers. This demand is equivalent to the demand that we transported in 1987, 30 years back, when we had a network half the size of what we have now. The actions implemented during COVID-19 through the contingency plans and later in the new normal seek to restore customer confidence. Also, this has led us to review our digital transformation strategy to ensure that we are oriented to provide quality mobility service that generate trust in our passengers. Some example of such plans were to provide service according to the requirements of the authority. We also increased cleaning service in trains and in stations and office. And of course, we provide masks to all personnel as well. Among some other decisions taken, 44 lobbies were closed, signage was increased to keep interpersonal distance, and the Metro app was improved to provide better information to the users, and we also increased ventilation to comply with air renovations. The role of engineering has been key in the COVID era. Such role has made it easier to restore the trust among customers in the use of public transport, contributing therefore to make traveling possible and to ensure it's done safely. 2 days right after the World Health Organization declared the pandemic, Metro de Madrid had 800 people working, and 5 days later, 1,300 people. We manage about 600 video conferences on a daily basis. Another key example has been cybersecurity management. During the pandemic, the number of suspicious emails increased. Another example of the technical actions taken, we split the control center and the maintenance and monitoring operational control center, our commit center. And so we split the staff to reduce the risks of contagious. We upgrade the app. We believe that the information was key, so we made improvements in the app to increase the information provided to our customers. We added the next train schedule information on the app to optimize the flow of passengers into the station and to reduce waiting time on platform. We also provide information on the next train to your closest station and improved the information of incident schedule and station service. All this aimed to make a smarter management of the passengers' flow in stations. We also upgrade the app in record time with a technological solution to control the flow of passengers in stations. Such technology solutions allows comparing the modeling of the entrance flow to the stations with the actual flow to the network, to add on the access system and on the travel information system, limiting the number of people who access and thus trying to guarantee the occupation of the trains and the stations. Here you can see the solution based on big data technology allow us to compare the modeling of a station entry flow with the actual flow into the network. We got information on trains through the CTC and information on the station entry through the turnstile. This allows us to add on the access system and on the passenger information system so that we can limit the number of people accessing and thus trying to guarantee the occupancy of the trains and stations. This system report passenger flow information in real time so that they can plan their trip. The system adapts station message according to the flow of passengers, and the information is shown to users on the mobile app in a clear and intuitive way. Everything we have experienced has led us to review our digital transformation strategy to see to what extent we are oriented to provide a quality service focused on customers and so generate the confidence they demand. We are convinced that innovation is the heart of this digital transformation strategy. We have to reconsider our process on the basis of people knowledge, lessons learned, and adding value to the company. We believe that technology has to be a means for innovation. These are the technologies on which Metro de Madrid is focused to develop innovation in terms of mobility, communication and information technologies, 4.0, at the station and at the train, centralized traffic and facility control, process automatization, energy efficiency, and on-condition maintenance. We are trying to connect assets, customers, and employees. The station 4.0 is a basic smart station in the network. The digital train project gives us a deeper understanding of how trains are operated. The DPS is a data process center, centralize and virtualize the technology. The future network operation control center will integrate operation and maintenance service, and the RailNet is the project that permits to modernize the communications. From an engineering point of view, we have to make sure that public transport networks keep on being the backbone of mobility in cities. We have to promote the intermodality of different transport systems, and based on technology, we have to place our customers in the center of our decisions, giving them transparent communication in real-time information and real-time information of the status of the service. So I will finish up with several ideas and one reflections. All the players in the railroad sector, manufacturers, operators, engineering companies, associations, must work aligned in support of the sector. We are living in a temporary crisis that should have temporary consequences, and in this, public companies play a fundamental role. The public sector must invest to generate wealth, and this will mean going to higher debt levels. Taking on debt has its drawbacks, but the alternative of not doing is so good, big worse. We have the responsibility to invest wisely, to make good use of our taxes. In that sense, public companies must play a fundamental role with the support of the administrations and the countries in Europe. So I will finish up with one reflection. With all these ideas and one reflection, we have to inspire trust in uncertain times. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Isaac. Very good presentation. Can I please remind the audience about the Q&A, where please, if you have any questions to any of the presenters, please go in to the Q&A and post your questions. And also, if somebody already asked a question or you find a question in there that you would also like the answer to, please vote for that question, and we will then take them up in the panel discussion at the end. I'll now launch the second poll, which is, are there body temperature control systems for rail travelers in your country? And while you guys vote here, I will present Carlos Ferreira Coloma, who is the safety and security responsible within ADIF in Spain. He has more than 15 years of experience in emergency management, and he leads the team that works to ensure protection of infrastructure and railway services in Spain, using both human resources and also tech solutions to do so. And he's even sort of he can even help put out wildfires. I can see in his which is also an emergency, but a bit different to what happens in trains. Looking forward to hear your presentation, Carlos. Oh,
Okay.
not to forget again, I almost forgot again, Jules. We'll just start by looking at the poll there, where we can see that a few of the countries or operators seem to have implemented temperature control systems, but the vast majority hasn't. Almost 60% of the listeners. So it will be new for most. What you'll educate us on, Carlos.
Okay, thank you very much, Peter, and thank you for giving the opportunity given to ADIF to explain our experience with the body temperature control in high-speed train in passengers that we have implemented as a pilot. Okay, my name is Carlos Freire. I'm the Safety and Security Manager in the ADIF for Aragon and Catalonia region in the northwest of Spain. Let me first introduce you about a bit background and figures about ADIF, our company. ADIF is it's a public company, is the Spanish Railway Administrator, and is attached to the Spanish Ministry of Transport, Mobility and Urban Agenda. Is responsible for the design, construction, supervision, and maintenance of the rail network, as well as network traffic management and railway stations. Liberalization has been started in Spain so many years ago with freight transport, and passenger transport has been liberalized last year, recently, 2020. Some more background of our network. Okay, in Spain, we have 3 different track gauges. We have 15,300 kilometer rail network in ADIF, of which more than 3,500 kilometers are high-speed network. It's the second largest in the world. We have more than 1,500 railway stations and over 6,000 trains running daily on our network. Talking about the high-speed line where the pilot has been implemented is the Madrid-Barcelona French border high-speed line. In this route, allows circulation at speeds of up to 350 kilometers per hour on practically 86% of the route. With the recently liberalization of the sector, there are currently 3 passenger railway operators on this route, which are Renfe, is the main Spanish railway operator, Ouigo is part of SNCF Group, and also Hablo is also a part of Renfe Group. Some more figures about the high-speed line where the system has been implemented. The line with international track gauge is over 1,800 kilometers long. It has RTMS and ETCS 1 and 2 implemented and ASFA systems, several supervision and surveillance systems, of course, and a high-capacity telecommunication network and a central regulation system aimed at optimizing the overall operation of the line. Okay, now this was a short background of our company, and let's get into our pilot, talking about body temperature control using thermography thermal cameras. Okay, this pilot has been implemented in 2 of the main railway stations that we have in Spain. Those are Madrid Atocha and Barcelona Sants. within over 4 million passengers traveling within those train stations per year, more or less. Okay, the system has been implemented to avoid passengers with what is considered fever for the public authorities is with corporal temperature higher than 37.5 degrees Celsius to get on board on high-speed trains. The system also detects passengers not wearing masks properly. Let's say that in Spain, in this moment, it's mandatory to use masks for using the public transport. Okay, how does this system works? Okay. Well, this system is implemented as I said, as a pilot in two railway stations in Madrid and Barcelona. Is in the high-speed is in the entrance of the high-speed lobby, where access is only possible through security checkpoints. There's also a control center where body temperature images are displayed, and the systems are installed on the floor of the entrance of the high-speed lobby. The systems is a non-contactless systems with a very low error. It's really accurate. It works from a range to 20 to 50 degrees Celsius and from 3 to 6 meter distance. Okay, in these systems, measures the body temperature of travelers, as I said, in the incoming flow to the high-speed lobby. If the passengers with corporal temperature lower than 37.5 degrees are detected, they continue to the security control. Okay, they don't as it's a non-contactless systems, they just proceed to the security control. If the security control is satisfactory, access to the lobby is allowed. But passengers with corporal temperature with higher than 37.5 degrees are detected. They are kindly separated from the flow by the security staff. In these cases, the security staff use a handheld thermal camera for a second measurement. Okay, this is a scheme of the Barcelona Sants train station, where you can see the high-speed lobby, and the entrance is only allowed through the security checkpoints. In this train station, we have 3 security checkpoints where the thermal cameras are implemented in the entrance flow of the passengers, and there's one control center where all the information goes to. All the different passengers flow are similar to this. All the passengers get into first, they enter the flow. The system detects proper use of the mask, also detects the temperature of the passenger. As I said before, if the temperature is lower than 37.5 degrees, they just proceed through the security checkpoint. But if the temperature is higher than 37.5 degrees, they are kindly removed by the security staff from the flow, and they have another measurement, a handheld measurement. And if the second measurement is also higher than 37.5 degrees, they have to wait 10 minutes and then restarts again the process. If after restarting again the process, the temperature is still high, those people are not allowed to enter the high-speed lobby. Okay, this is an example, a photograph in the Barcelona Sants train station, where you can see the thermal cameras on the right and also on the left, the control center. A closer view of the thermal cameras. As you can see, the people didn't notice that they don't disturb the camera, don't disturb the people entering the flow through the high-speed lobby. This is the control center where the alerts get. And this is an example of the second measurement, people with a higher temperature, and access to the high-speed lobby granted for those with lower temperature. Okay, we also have, of course, guarantees for passengers. There's no record data about the temperature. Also, the passengers are informed about the temperature control system with different signaling through the station. ADIF works in coordination with public health authorities, and also we have implemented procedures with the railway operators about this precisely item. passenger with a higher temperature. They have a second measurement if needed. They are double checked, and they also have a waiting room in case they need it for waiting the health staff. They also have the possibility of a ticket exchange. What are our numbers after 1 year use of this pilot? Well, for around 4 million passengers, we got 274 high temperature alarms that are not very much, and those temperature alerts result on only 14 people not allowed to access to the high-speed lobby. Why this figure so low? I think because it's the most people acting in a responsible manner by staying at home if they have a fever. Okay, as conclusions for this pilot that we have implemented, I would like to say that there's cons, that there's a significant economy cost due to the human and technical resources that are required. Also, there is a limited functionality due to not being implemented in all the railway stations. But the pros, and we are focusing on this, is that detection of possible COVID cases or other contagious diseases it works. It helps to prevent contagions on high-speed trains, not also COVID, but also different illness. It also contributes to lower inter-region spread of illness. And that was the main point. It increases the confidence of passengers to use the public transportation. So, okay, that was a short explanation of our pilot. Thank you very much. I hope you find it interesting.
Thank you, Carlos. Very interesting. Thank you. I'm now gonna please again remember the Q&A and post any questions you have for Carlos also in the Q&A, and we'll get back to them. Now we'll continue with the last poll of today, which is: do you believe a video-powered solution can support a safe return to rail travel? And to talk us through examples of a video-powered solutions, I'll hand over to Frank Müller, who is the senior key accounts manager in Cognify. He is covering the German and the Nordic region, Northern Europe, and he has a lot of experience within rail and public transport. I'll give you just sort of 10 seconds to vote, and then we'll look at the results, and there we see that sort of, yeah, Frank, around 80% believes that a video-powered solution can play a role in the safe return to travel, which I guess is a good thing. So looking forward to hear about some examples of video-powered solutions. I'll hand over to you, Frank.
Thank you, Peter, and a very warm welcome to the participants outside in the World Wide Web here in this webinar. Thank you for joining, and I hope I can give you with my presentation some ideas for your operational daily business. But first of all, I have to start my presentation with, I would say, a disappointment. We don't have that one and only answer for you how solutions can help you to bring back passengers' trust in the public transport after COVID-19. That's the real and the truth. So please keep this in mind. And so I would like to have a more generic approach to this topic. Okay, let me start. Some few to my person. As Peter already mentioned, my name is Frank Müller. I'm responsible for sales here at Cognify for the German region and also for Nordics. And I'm working for this company since 13 years now. I'm serving a lot of customers, especially in the public transport and railway market. And so I would say I have some experience for the needs and for the requirements in this market. Who is Cognify? Maybe some of you know us from the past at CTEC. We have been acquired by Cognify in 2018, and now we are a global acting software company for physical security and enterprise incident management solutions. And with roughly 300 people around the world, we are serving markets, especially in Europe, Northern America, APEC, and also in the Middle East. We are acting globally with roughly 600 technology partners from different segments in the market. And to give you a rough idea, we are installing or delivering licenses for maybe 250,000 camera channels per year. Not only in the public transport, by the way. In general, even before the times of Corona, and especially for operators of passenger transport companies, bad things happen every day. I think Carlos and Isaac agree with me at that point. That can be smaller things such as thefts, assaults, or damage on properties, or people under attack, or many, many more. Or it can be a major event that happens very seldom, but have an enormous impact on ongoing operations. And for all these things that can happen, the responsible person in the companies should be prepared. And as if all this were not challenging enough, I would say the pandemic has been rolling through the world since last year, and which has changed our social life in many areas and will change it permanently, I believe. And this is also applies in particular to local and long distance passenger transports, whether by train or buses or streetcars or also by planes. Now we are slowly but surely struggling to return to normal life, I would say, and it's a great challenge for those responsible persons in the public transport company, especially to master the new framework conditions. And the keywords are here, as we heard already: social distancing, contact tracing or hygiene concepts, health checks like Carlo mentioned already, detecting face masks. And last but not least, we are talking about passenger trust. And that's then the important thing to keep it back. To master these new challenges, you can try to put a lot of enormous personal effort, like Corso also mentioned in his example, or you can try to use state-of-the-art or new technologies to master these challenges. And this, I would say, is exactly where we at Cognify see our approach to these requirements and these efforts. As we know from different projects in the domain of public and rail transport, and as it's also known from a survey in the market segment, video technology, and that's the true, in particular, the use of supporting video analysis is an effective means of mastering the challenges of daily operations. I guess some of the audience will agree with that. And that is also a result of our poll, I would say. And that's important to understand that video technology is not only an instrument to master the typical safety and security operations. It's also a proved tool to help the operators to master the new challenges which are coming up with or came up with the pandemic. From our point of view, essentially is a matter of using products and technologies that can meet the requirements of a company in the field of public transport. This includes features such as efficient support for operators in monitoring and researching incidents, and it should have an open system architecture, but also efficient and cost-effective implementation and operation are important characteristics, I would say. After all, the economic purpose of a public transport company, I would say, is to transport people and not to operate expensive and inefficient technologies. And last but not least, the technologies used must be comply with all legal requirements. And we as Cognify offer here a suitable setup exactly here where our VMS solution portfolio. With our products, we fulfill exactly the requirements described above, such as situational awareness, an example, support for the operator with concentration on the essentials, or we supply and project systems for the simple integration of a wide variety of sensors and graphical and interactive and intuitive operating units. And another focus in our solution approach is an open system architecture for integration of third-party applications like video analysis or other third-party subsystems. To finish my presentation, I would share some or two reference projects. The first one came from Munich. The customer was looking for a new video system to replace the old analog installation a few years ago. And great importance was attached to reliability and stability, and as well as scalability. And in order to ensure the further expansion of the system with now approximately 2,000 camera channels in the meantime. And together with our partner, we were able to win the project. And in the meantime, we also got access through this project to the local police authorities in Munich, which have also been using solutions from Cognify for some time. And the second project example I have here is from Malaysia. The customer here is the mass transit network for Klang Valley called KVMRT. And the challenge in this project was that this has nothing to do with COVID, by the way, was here to combine the video technology from the trains and the stationary systems in the train stations in one system. And we've realized this project with our Cayuga VMS, and in this way we support the local operators in ensuring ongoing operations. So I would like to conclude my presentation with our mission statement. We help our customers minimize the impact of physical security, safety, and operational incidents. And as I mentioned before I started my presentation, we don't have, to be honest, we don't have the only one or the one and only answer for to fix the requirements and the new challenges after COVID-19, but and that's important from my point of view, but we can help to support the responsibles in the companies with our technology to minimize the effort and give them a good technology background and help them to have an efficient daily operation. So thanks for your attention, and now we look forward, I think, for a hopeful, interesting discussion with you in the audience. And now I hand the microphone virtually over to back to Peter, and thanks to all.
Thank you, Frank, and thank you for the presentation. Yeah, thank you to all of you. Really interesting presentations, and we're now gonna go into the panel discussions. And for the audience, please remember and continue to vote for questions and to post new questions, and I'll see how many of them we can cover during the remaining time. But will also allow myself to sort of start with a question of my own to Isaac. Isaac, I noticed you had a slide with a graph of the demand compared sort of before COVID and then after COVID, and you could see that sort of you already had some increase in passengers, but also that it's kind of sort of hit a plateau where at least sort of it slowed down, or you were sort of at a plateau now. What do you think right now is sort of the most important factor for you guys to come back to sort of pre-COVID levels?
We have to work in several aspects. We have to communicate, to improve our communication with our customers in order to tell them what we are doing for give a better service to them. We have to improve our communications in order to know the number of people that are in our network and what we are doing in order to maintain the trains, to clean the stations, to maintain the trains, and give them the information in real time. As we have saw, the demand fell as 92% of the demands, and now we are about 70% of the demand that we had in 2019. The demand is a relationship with the economics in our cities, and also we have to understand that is changing the paradigm of our cities, is changing the mobility in our cities with teleworking. So perhaps we are not going to have the demand that we have in the past, but we have to show to our clients, to our passengers, that the public transport is safety, giving them all the decisions that we have taken in order to give them the trust that they are asking us.
Yeah, I agree that that's sort of, the trust to go back into public transport is an important factor. So completely agree there. Carlos, we also have a few questions around the face mask detection, whether that was something you implemented as a video analytic, or if it was sort of manually detecting face masks.
The face mask detection on proper face masks, passenger wearing mask on properly, is a video analytics system. It detects, it analyzes the face and the different masks that are wearing, and in case there's a passenger not wearing the mask properly, it shows an alarm, an alert on the display of the central control. Normally, people just are asked to put it correctly, and that's it. Maybe they forgot just to put it below the node, but it's a video analyst.
Yeah. Okay. And maybe just a quick follow-on question there. I think you mentioned it, but there's been a few questions also on the accuracy of the thermal cameras.
Yeah, it's a how to say, it's a really accuracy system. The system is maintained continuously, and in the test that we have made, it shows that the accuracy is lower than 0.5. It's around 0.2 degrees Celsius. Okay, the people that have a high temperature normally, and where you can you can see it in the, as I explained, that the number of passengers detected in the first measurement is really high if you compare to the final ones. Is mostly because people maybe they go running because they were going to lose the train, or they are late, or something like that. And after 10 minutes waiting, the temperature gets low, and then they are allowed to enter. But it's a quite accuracy system.
Okay, thank you. And Frank, we also have some questions around your detection of intruders on tracks. Whether how many false detections a system like that will give?
That an engineer would say, or a lawyer would say, it depends. It depends. I guess Carlos also had made this experience that the accuracy is mainly driven by the algorithm you have now, mainly on the camera side. We see here on the market, as I mentioned, we have an open platform system, and we can collect cameras from different vendors from the market. And most of the leading vendors here in this market are providing now video analytics on their edge devices. And sometimes they are promising more that they are able to deliver. And as I mentioned, it depends also on the physical environment. You have to have light, enough light for detections, and you have the angle of view is very important to consider, and all these things. But in general, you should keep in mind we are only talking about the surface measurement that has nothing to do with the infrared measurement in the ear. For example, if you are ill and have fever, it's only an early indicator. And like Carlos mentioned, it helps you to pre-detect maybe a person who has fever and wants to have access to a train or to a train station. I only can mention here from Germany that we don't have these really comfortable infrastructure like in Spain, for example, because we are completely open on our train stations. We don't have the dedicated access to platforms like in Spain, for example. And in these environments, it's very, very difficult to measure temperature on a body on a passenger. So it's nearly impossible. So it depends a little bit from the environment, I would say. But the solution itself, also the mask detection on the camera side, it's now good, reliable. I also have seen some presentations from our partners on the camera side. It's partially impressive what the analytics is able to do now.
Yeah. And the follow on, Frank, from me, we saw sort of in the first poll that a lot of train operators have changed operations during COVID, and we also saw in the last poll that a lot of people had thought that video would play a role in a safe return of passengers and could be used. Do you have any examples of some of your customers that have maybe sort of started using video analytics in a new way as a result of the COVID pandemic?
Yes, of course. We see in a lot of our customers that they are trying to find a proper solution to increase the possibilities of their video system with analytics. The real life, I must say, And to be honest, is that in many cases, the analytics functions which are provided in the market at the moment are not so reliable like expected, because as I mentioned, you have to struggle with a lot of physical hints. And for example, what I said already, in Germany, we don't have this comfortable situation with dedicated access to the train stations. And in other cases, it's really expensive, and combined with a huge effort to install everywhere it's needed to additional cameras with an analytics on board to detect something like a face, a mask wearing, and all these things. And it's a balance between all these things. That's the reason why I started my presentation. We don't have the one and only answer for these things. What we think is video, as also in the past, can help the operators to support the daily challenges, and that means also to build up the passenger trusts again. And if I see as a passenger, for example, if I enter a train station, there's somebody who is taking care that people are wearing a mask and all these things, that builds up trust on my side as a passenger, not as a employee on a software company, you know.
Yeah. And Isaac, we also have a question regarding sort of what kind of passenger volumes you're sort of currently handling, and how your capacity monitoring have helped sort of, while of course passenger volumes are lower than sort of your design peak, but still with the capacity monitoring, how that helps. Yeah, you're still on mute, Isaac. The question.
Excuse me, I didn't hear the question, please.
Yeah, the question is, what was the passenger volumes handled during the period, and how is capacity monitoring helping this?
Yes, as I have told you, we reduce the demand. We reduce the demand as 92% in April of 2020. Now we are increasing the demand, and I have to try to tell you how we are going to transforming, or how the technology is going to improve the management of metro in our network. When we talk about our facilities, we have 8,000 cameras in our network, so it's very difficult for us. The key aspect is that the technology life cycle is shorter than the time that it takes to deploy it. So we have to think how to make this investment, and is what I have to try to tell you. We're going to have in the future video analytic. We are going to have in the future. We don't have video analytic now because we have analyzed cameras, but we are preparing our fixed facilities in order to analyze what our cameras are telling us. Now we are comparing the flow, the theoretical flow, with the passengers flow that we have around our turnstile, and then we try to manage this flow from this information. Also, in one line, we are tracking the mobiles around the different lines. In the light rail line, we are tracking the mobiles of the people, but inside the underground, it's difficult to do it. So it's difficult to identify the demand along the lines. So we are working in several topics. Another Another project that we have is the digital train. With the digital train, we are going to improve the communication between the trains and the ground. We are going to send the image from the cameras to the ground. Now we can see what is happening inside the trains in some lines, like in line LH or in line 12 in Metro de Madrid, but not in the rest of the lines. We have to solve the communications between the trains and the ground. This is an important aspect for the metros in the underground, because we can't depend from an operator. We have to have our facilities in order to communicate the trains to the ground. And we are working in all this aspect in order to know better which is the flow in every moment.
Okay, yeah, and also from your presentation, you had sort of that you could basically close the turnstiles going into a station. How are you communicating that to the passengers? It's of course easy to see at the turnstile, but are you also communicating sort of to passengers that haven't maybe started their journey towards the station yet about these?
We communicate with the passengers by different channels. We communicate with them by the mobiles, with the apps. The apps give them the information about the occupancy in our trains and in our station, but also we communicate with them at the station with the message that you can hear at the stations, and with the monitors that you have at the stations. We close the turnstile when we have more passengers that we can transport. So they have to wait at the stations until we open the turnstile. So in real time, we are comparing the real flow with the theoretical one that we can produce, and then we control the flow. We know that we can do it in a different way, but we have used the technology that we have in order to control the flow of the passengers that we have.
Okay, thank you. And Carlos, I think we had a question also on the camera technology, whether those temperature cameras, whether they were dedicated or whether they could, or if it was a functionality on a normal camera as well, or if you would have to sort of implement dedicated cameras for the temperature screening.
Sorry, the image freeze for a while. If I understood you correctly.
The question is, for the temperature screening, is that dedicated cameras, or
Yes.
can you use cameras that also can provide a normal video feed?
No, these are dedicated cameras, because as I told this, we have security cameras, but those cameras have their specific legislation. All the data is recorded, and the cameras that we are using for detecting temperature, corporal temperature, they're not recording the data, and they are an isolated installation. It's not connected to any recording device or so. So they are dedicated cameras.
Okay. And does that also apply to your facial mask detection? Can you do that on images from your normal CCTV, or have you also applied special cameras for that?
No, it's the same camera that is used for detecting the corporal temperature. It's the software that provides the algorithm that is implemented in the software and detects this non properly wear masks. It's the same software, the same camera.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. And one more follow-up question there. There's a question, I don't know if you can answer, but there's a question also on how the Spanish rail regulator has addressed the changes to railway performance during the pandemic. It's a quite big question, but I don't know if you can.
Well, Well, I will start saying that with good news, because last few days ago, we noticed that the increase of the number of high-speed passengers, that we have increased the number of high-speed passengers between Madrid and Barcelona high-speed line to figures higher than 2 years ago. So I think that those are good news, not only because of, I think that not only because of this pilot that we have implemented, but also because of a commercial issue and the liberalization of the sector, the passenger sector. So at least with this high-speed line, the number of passengers are increasing. So I think that hopefully we will get more and more passengers getting to this kind of transport in railway transport in Spain.
Yeah. Okay. Thank you. Good to hear that passenger volumes are up. That's definitely positive. Frank, there's a question also regarding facial recognition, and sort of, and of course there's a lot around GDPR and stuff like that. What's your view on facial recognition used in sort of a rail context? Is any challenges? What do you think about the future and facial recognition?
I can tell some insights from one of my biggest customers here in Germany, the German railway, and we know, or I know that we are always talking about facial recognition, especially in Germany, that's a really tricky topic, I would say, regarding GDPR compliance, but we have here especially a special situation because the main stakeholder of the video system here at Deutsche Bahn is the Federal Police, and they have special rights, and I know that we have a lot of proof of concepts in the past made regarding the facial recognition. And the solutions itself, what we have in the market already, they are really good. There's no question regarding the accuracy and all these things, but in most of the cases, the projects are stopped regarding the personal rights and the rights of own rights of a person, which is detected on a train station. So, and that's one of the main hints, I would say. In general, the technology is right for the market since years. It's good. We also have implemented some of these technologies in our video systems to send out the video data directly from our system to analyze it on the third-party application and get back information if somebody is detected who is on the most wanted list, to say it. And that's in general not a problem, but as I said, in most of the cases, we are talking about regulatory hints that it's not too easy to jump over at the moment, especially in Germany. In other countries, it's maybe not so difficult, but I guess in Spain, there's also a topic it's not so easy, and it has both sides. It has both sides. To be honest, I'm not 100% convinced that facial recognition is a proper tool to avoid a terror attack, for example. If you imagine there's somebody is trying to place a bomb on a train station, I would set up or wear a base cap or a hoodie, and after that, it's nearly impossible to detect the face on a reliable way. That's what I mentioned with the hints that you have in the real life, always.
Yeah. And then maybe for all of you, in airports, the touchless journey is a big issue right now and a big topic, and airports strive to sort of entering the terminal and basically boarding your plane without them having to touch the passenger. And biometric is, of course, an important part of that touchless journey. Is that also a concept that that either Frank, any of your customers, or Isaac or Carlos, that you guys are looking at and maybe working on?
Well, let's
Yeah.
let me start. We are working on that, but not with technology. I have to say, we're working on some technology about the number of passengers in a precisely moment in a high-speed lobby, for instance, but not regarding the safety distance because of COVID. Most is regarding the capacity of the high-speed lobby and not to many people get into and to be uncomfortable. But the solutions that we are implemented about this topic in the high speed, well, in the train stations, are more physical with guidance, with signaling, because the movement in a main station like Barcelona Sands, you have the metro, the high speed, the commuter trains, and there are thousands of people crossing the different lines of the train of the station and different flows. So it's quite challenging to I don't know to get all the passengers not to be close to each one inside a railway station. I mean, a big railway station.
Yeah. And then maybe also for both Isaac and Carlos, do you any of you sort of foresee that at any point that vaccination will be a condition to travel? I think right now we're not warranting to be vaccinated, but do you think that will change or?
Well, from my point of view, I don't know. That's really a political decision. In Spain, it's not mandatory, as in many countries. It's not mandatory to be vaccinated, but who knows? It would be quite difficult for the flaws to enter public transport to prove that you are vaccinated. So maybe I don't know. That's the most difficult thing, from my opinion, for a normal use of the public transport.
I don't know. I don't know. I think I agree with Carlos that it's very difficult, but we are preparing our facilities in order to improve. And I think we have to work this way, and I think the technology will us the opportunity of do the things in a different way. Perhaps it's too difficult to improve our technology in our network. It's very difficult because we need a lot of investment and we need to change the regulations. But we agree that it help us to manage the mass transport.
Yeah. We also have a question regarding the actual journey on the train rather than the station. Have any of you implemented something in the trains or changed your sort of mode of operation in the trains as a response to the pandemic and to provide sort of a higher confidence for passengers traveling?
I would like to tell you that we are testing something, but it's very difficult. We have tried to improve. We have to improve the quality of the air, but the air condition is designed for some filters, and we can't put high quality filters like in the airplane. So we have improved, or we have increased the number of renewables per hour that we have inside the trains and in according with the train regulations. But we can't install the high quality filters. For example, we have introduced inside the cabin drivers a small device that improve the quality of the air. We also have a pilot inside the trains cleaning the trains with a special product that avoid COVID every month. We daily clean the trains, but we put a product inside the trains that avoid the COVID inside the trains every month. But we don't have a key answer to these questions.
It is difficult, and it's difficult. Of course, it becomes increasingly difficult as passenger volumes go up. I guess for you guys, Carlos, it's a little bit easier because I think, yeah, people will be sort of at a designated seat when traveling on the train.
Well, we are as a DIP, we are a railway administrator, so those are things that are on the railway operators manage. Maybe Renfe and Wigo, and I know they are working on that. They're working on different things to make the trip safer and more comfortable. But maybe it's better to make another webinar and introduce them. I'm sure they will explain us what are they working on.
Sure, thank you. And Frank, any cameras in the trains as well?
The video surveillance on in the trains itself, it's from the history coming a different market, and what we are seeing also on the example what I shown in my presentation in Malaysia, that the technology from the landscape and from the trains are coming closer together. The main thing is that we have, in most of the cases, not reliable infrastructure behind. Like Isaac mentioned, that at the moment it's nearly impossible to get on a reliable way video data from a train, from a high-speed train, especially to the land side. So, and maybe 5G will be changed this in the future. But we are also talking about a huge investment on this side. And as Isaac mentioned, especially in a train, in combination with video, you have a lot of challenges that you have to jump over if you want to detect something on a reliable way, either if you have a kind of theft or abnormal behavior in a train. We also are in contact with some of our customers. They are asking frequently for solutions like that, but to be honest, the market is not ready today for such solutions. And you can do something, but I guess it's always the question. I'm not the railway operator. I'm not responsible for the money, but I guess it's always the question to keep the balance between investment and outcome at the other end. And so you find a good way beside these things, or between these things, and that not each technology what you see on the market will be end of the day find the way to a customer. So it's for example, with passenger flow management, that's also an interesting thing. What I know from our customers, that they are trying to understand better how is the passenger flow to be better prepared for rush hours, for example, to guide people in different ways and sections, and so keep the distance between the passengers better than in the past, for example. But COVID is come to be stay. It is like it is. We have to deal with it.
Yeah. Earlier we had a question on sort of having more functionalities in the same camera. You, as a provider of camera solutions, and of course in touch with the vendors of these cameras, are you seeing sort of new technologies coming into cameras so that more functionality besides video feeds can be provided from these devices?
Of course, there is definitely a trend in the market that all of the camera vendors are trying to put more and more intelligence on the camera side. And as Carlos mentioned, we already have in most of the leading manufacturers, we have on the camera AI implemented already, which is work really impressive partially. But at the other hand, the cameras are more expensive, of course. That's higher technology. And you always have to deal with side effects like temperature. The cameras are getting a high temperature, especially during the summertime, because the processors, they are included on the camera side. They are working like a high power computer. And so that's the side effect you have to keep in mind. And but the trend is definitely clear. You will, or we see already that we have more and more analytics functions on the cameras, and it works properly. And now it's important to bring it on the VMS part to give the operator the information when the camera has detected something, not to have isolated systems for detecting a mask wearing or a high temperature. You have to combine it on the operational side in the VMS, and that's what we are doing to implement these functionalities and keep the operator the information. Hey, there's something wrong here. Please keep an eye on it.
Yeah. And Isaac, maybe the last question for today, but we heard Carlos say that they're pretty much already back to sort of pre-COVID levels on passenger volumes.
Yeah. Sorry, just a point. Was in the high-speed line in between Barcelona and Madrid?
Yeah.
This is the main high-speed line in Spain, but
yeah,
it's what's in this high-speed line.
Yeah. So for the high-speed line between the two major cities, there your sort of passenger volumes are up. What are your expectations in the metro system regarding sort of the comeback to passengers? How long do you think it will take before you're sort of running up to full capacity again?
That's a good question.
I think, as I have said, the demand at the metros is relationship with the economic growth of the city. If we increase the economic growth, we will increase the demand. Now we are observing in a city like Madrid that we are growing, so we hope to grow. We hope to increase our demand. If I can tell you that for us, I think we will be very important this month and the next month in order to identify what is going to happen at the end of the year with the demand. I can tell you that yesterday the demand was 7% increased 7% respect the last week. In our case, in a country like Spain, the number of persons that have received the vaccine is higher, and we think that we will good for the mobility. We are going to recover the trust in the transport.
Yes.
So I think the demand is going to increase at the end of the year, but we are far away from the levels that we have in 2019. Perhaps we are going to increase until 80%, but teleworking and another aspect avoid that the demands will be like in 2019.
Yeah, and it's we hear other operators say the same, that sort of there's going to be a portion of the travelers that are likely to sort of take some time to get back into public transport. So and also in airports, that's also what we hear, that it is going to be a lengthy comeback. But I think it's great, and it's been great hearing you guys talk about how you try and sort of make it safe for people to return, both sort of safe in absolute terms, but also the perception of the passengers that they think that it is safe, which I think that sort of, besides all the sort of actual things we do, but then also making sure that the perception of the passengers are that it is safe to come back to public transportation. That's really great, and I think that will be key in a safe return. Any closing remarks from any of you guys? Otherwise, I'll hand over to Jules again.
I only want to say thank you to all of you and to the audience for attend this webinar. And yeah, if there are some questions after this webinar, feel free to contact me or also the colleagues here from my side. That's what I mentioned.
Sure. Yeah.
Well, I would like to say the same. Thank you all for this webinar. I hope everybody found it interesting. At least I did. I found it interesting. It's quite a good experience. And for any question you have, you can stay in touch with the International Department of ADIF, and also with me, if possible, by LinkedIn or anything else. And well, we'll be in touch. And also, just to say that in ADIF, we are always committed to the safety travel of all the passengers, and we're working on that with this new pilot that we have implemented, and maybe another one that can introduce in the next years.
For me, it has been a pleasure to participate in this summit and to share with all of you our vision about how is going to be the future metro. Thank you very much to IRS for the invitation, and I'm glad to be with all of you.
Yeah. Thank you all. Thank you.
Well, thank you very much, Peter, for the very informative discussion that we've had over the last 90 minutes or so. And thank you to all the speakers for sharing your experience and your projects and the kind of new best practices that you've been implementing and offering from Frank's point of view, and this sharing of the information with other operators, other authorities, and other railway community members in general will only help everyone to get better at combating the same issue that we're all facing. So thank you for sharing your experience, and no doubt we will have continue the discussion on similar topics moving forward. We have quite a few. This was the first webinar after the summer break, and we have a number of webinars coming up between now and November. So the second session is on a slightly different topic, talking about international rail timetabling, seamless connectivity to attract passengers and freight customers. So this is happening next week, I believe, Thursday next week, 30th of September. We'll be welcoming contributions from Swedish Transport Administration, Trafikverket, and ÖBB, Austrian Federal Railways, and the timetabling solution provider TrainLab. moderated by Carsten Lotz from McKinsey & Company. So this will be a quite interesting topic, how rail operators can coordinate with each other, especially in the context of international travel. We'll be tackling the issue of so there are a number of different topics to consider when we talk about sort of cross-border traffic. And you know, there's discussion about, for example, ticketing. But this time we're discussing timetabling. How do we coordinate the timetabling between different operators, and also between different modes of transport, so that passengers and also freight customers will have a better experience, and would choose to use rail as opposed to other modes of transport. So I look forward to the second session of this season next week. So do join us for that session. The booking is available on our website. Just to give you a kind of future information, the 11th International Railway Summit. So this is a kind of annual meeting, which we're hoping to go back to a sort of physical setup, physical event setup, taking place in Berlin next year in February. Once again, supported by the International Union of Railways, UIC. So we had one, so this year, earlier this year, we did an online edition for obvious reasons. We're hoping that we will be able to meet physically once again, and you know, a lot of physical events are starting to happen, and which is encouraging. So do get in touch with us if you want to be involved. And the topic, the main overall theme is innovating rail for people, planet, and prosperity. So we'll be talking about what innovation can do for these three types of sustainability: social, environmental, and economic sustainability. So it'll be an exciting line of speakers being confirmed as we speak. So do look out for that. There are a number of sponsorship options available, and our signature one-to-one meeting program between operators, infrastructure owners, and solution providers is back in a kind of physical setup. So do join us in February. Do get in touch with us if you're interested. And finally, before we go, we've just launched very recently a new project, new program, International Sustainable Railway Awards. So this is going to recognize efforts by the rail operators, infrastructure owners, and authorities in making the rail sector even more sustainable from again, once again, social, environmental, and economic sustainability point of view. So the application is already open, and the deadline is the 10th of November. The ceremony will take place at the same time as the summit in Berlin on the 17th of February. The further information is available on our website. You can Google International Sustainable Railway Awards to get to the website. There are a couple of categories that may be of interest to those of you watching this webinar. One is best contribution to COVID emergency category, and the other is best rebuilding confidence in railways category. So there are some efforts that will be kind of recognized in a kind of global way, and this is available to public transport operators as well. So do Isaac and Carlos, do consider submitting applications for these awards. It's free to enter. So free to submit your application. So do please consider joining us for this. So yes, so thank you to all of the speakers for a fascinating discussion this afternoon. Isaac Centelas Garcia, Carlos Freire Coloma, Frank Müller, and of course Peter Knudsen. We hope to see you once again in a future webinar or at the summit. So until then, and thank you to the audience for sticking around as well. Thank you very much, everyone, and goodbye.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye. Thank you.